in the middle of the jungle, this short 4-foot woman comes from I don't know where, appears with a sickle in her hand. I'm looking at her, and when she looks back at me, I see chakras in her eyes. Second event in the same journey, out of nowhere in the dark comes a Nandi. But that Nandi took a U-turn and started to run on the opposite direction. We followed, not even 2 minutes, we found the temple. We found Babaji's kutia. If Shiva had created this world, it would be a boring world because there is no action in it. The moment Shiva is into action, it's in the sphere of Shakti. Shakti is going to corrupt you if... We have a concept of 8 Devis, 8 manifestations of the para energy. These 8 energies also hang around with their 8 Devis. So then it becomes 64 Bhairavas.
Can you give us any one technique that could help us at least work towards the Shiva Tattva?
You are Shiva. If you are not, then Shakti is playing you all the time. And that's not the right way to do it. It's gonna irrevocably ruin your life. It will become a black hole, consume everything else. Because there was no Shiva to control it.
Om Namah Shivaya should not be recited
unless you are initiated by a certain guru. Om is the bija. Bija of the bija is a seed of the seeds. Mantra is the manifestation of the deity in the energy form.
Tell me about some of these deathless yogis.
Prabhakar Siddha.
He's lived 700 and so many years.
He has lived 730 odd years in 13 odd different bodies.
My God.
Yuvraj Srivastava is a spiritual seeker and practitioner dedicated to exploring consciousness through the lens of Kashmir Shaivism, insights from his years of sadhana and mystical encounters in the Himalayas.
Rishis gave 5 different unique attributes to something that they call Shiva, and only if you have those 5 attributes, you are Shiva. Otherwise, you are a deity. So what are these 5 things that Shiva can do? Kashmir Shaivism beautifully gives you 3 different Upayas. At the top of it sits Shambhava Upaya, or the way of Shambhu. The next one is Shakti Upaya, which is the way of Shakti, or the sphere or the house of Shakti.
People think that we're caught up with the wrong partner, right? Is it a good idea to go through that karmic thing that you might have had with that person, or maybe just retreat?
Through his talks, he invites audiences to rediscover the transformative power of Nam Jap and the inner science of Tantra, and we are delighted to welcome him to the Body to Being podcast today.
That gufa is important to me because I've had some experiences. One of those experiences was a sakshat of Hanumanji with my eyes closed as well as open.
Oh wow. And how was that?
I am just trembling right now.
Most of the podcasts that I've done are for the viewers. And there are very few podcasts that I've done for myself. This is one of those podcasts. Today's guest asked me this question. He said, would you rather understand life or death? And then he said something that really stayed with me. He said, if you understand death, life begins to make sense. Now, what if I told you that this tantric sect says that you are not human trying to reach Shiva because you are Shiva himself? Here, the teachings are so radical that not even gods are eligible to receive it. And these controversial teachings were hidden away in grammar books and recipes so that it couldn't just land in anybody's hand. The fascinating thing about this tantra is that you can get angry, you can be desirous, you can laugh, you can sing songs, listen to music, indulge in pleasures, and all of this can become tools for you to reach your higher self, for you to get enlightened. There is a Kashmiri mystic who wrote the greatest tantric encyclopedia, entered a cave with 1,200 disciples, and then was never seen again. Who are these deathless yogis who never die? Who is Mahavatar Babaji really? And why do century-old traditions continue to speak about beings who have transcended death itself? Welcome to one of the deepest conversations that we've had this year, where we've explored all of this and much more on the mind-blowing mysteries on Trika Tantra or Trik. Before we begin, I have a little request. Over the past 2 years, as a woman podcaster with an all-woman team, we've been incredibly fortunate to receive so much love and support from all of you that I'm truly and genuinely grateful. At the same time, nearly 80% of those who watch our conversations haven't subscribed yet. If our podcasts have added value to you, I truly appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, as it genuinely helps us reach a wider audience and bring more authentic, insightful voices onto the platform.
So Uttarakhand again. Let's talk about, there is a place, I think about 7-10 odd kilometers above Uttarkashi called Netala. There is a very famous ashram of Chinmayanandaji there. Okay. Or I could be wrong. So from Netala, this place that I'm talking about is about 7-8 kilometers odd trek in the middle of the thick jungles up in the mountains. The place is called Ayana Devi, and I'm taking the name because I want people to go. if Devi wants them, they will reach. If she doesn't, well, I don't know, well, jungle eats you up. It's like that, okay? So there is this Devi, it's the Devi of the jungle. We call her Ayana Devi. It's a distorted form of Ayana, which is mirror, which means that Shakti has the capacity to show you you. One of those times, somebody takes me to this place. And I know now how terrible the way is. It's thick jungle. Most of the times it's raining. When I had gone, it was raining. There are leeches all around. There are bears, tigers, leopards. So it took me, when I was hiking for the first time, would have taken me about 4, 5, or maybe more hours. Okay. And I am with some company. So I meet Babaji there. There's
When
a
you say
wonderful
Babaji?
Yeah, there's a Babaji who lives
Okay.
there from the last.
Okay.
So he is a Babaji from Kerala. He has been living in that place from last 17 years. And he himself, in his words, would tell you, if you happen to meet him, that I don't stay here. I wonder what just keeps me here. I am not able to go out from the kshetra. So I am the only one who Devi likes to be served by. And for the time being, I am just stuck. But I am happy in this stuck up situation also. So anyway, so that's him. So I happen to meet the Babaji. We have some wonderful conversation, a couple of nights spent at this solitary jungle. We come back and I know my experience is there, right? So it's like when you read a great book, you recommend it to somebody else. You watch a great movie, you want to take a couple of people out, your friends out to watch the movie along with yourself. Similarly, I had this great experience in that place. And I was like, okay, whenever I go next, let me see, I would probably have a couple of more people along with me. I would want them to experience what I experienced. Cut to, I think, after a few months. So one of my gurus and his wife, they are in Uttarkashi. So I fly down to this place. Now we all three are moving around. I'm like, Guru Nath, I want to take you to a particular place. It's like, okay, chaliye, Adesh. So now this time I had just gone to this place only once. This was my second time. And I knew this is middle of the jungle. And I'm being a little underconfident also. But I know if Devi wants, we will all be there. Half the way, bad rain, thick jungles, and because of a lot of trees, the overgrown stuff, there is no trail now. And we are like directionless. And from nowhere, Shloka, in the jungle, in the middle of the jungle, this short 4-foot woman comes from I don't know where, appears with a sickle in her hand. Looks like a Pahadi woman. And most importantly, when she comes very close to me, I mean, she's like small, right? So I'm looking at her like this. And when she looks back at me, I see chakras in her eyes.
Oh, wow.
Like burning chakras. I am taken aback, like, what? Like, right? And I'm calling, Gurunatha, come here. Because they're also trying to find out directions to hike up. So we are all three people in one group, all separated because we are looking for directions on the way up. I encounter with this Devi and I see what is happening. And I'm like, Amma, I call Amma. So Amma, I forgot the directions in Hindi. And I'm going to Ayana Baba, Ayana Mandir. If you could help. She spoke Hindi, but broken Hindi. And using her sickle, she's showing me the way how to go up. And I am in a different zone altogether. I know what I'm seeing, right?
Who was she, Devi?
Yes. So I know who I am having a darshan of. But something that just yourself has seen, who would believe? You want to have that legitimacy. You want to have that one more person, witness.
Yeah.
So I am calling Gurunatha, please come, run. So Gurunatha and his wife were just at slight distance from us. They come running around and I'm trying to show them what I see in her eyes. They couldn't.
Oh.
They couldn't, okay? But Amma speaks with Gurunatha and Moima, his wife, myself, raining obviously, but then she shows us the direction to hike up. I don't know what bhav I was in at that point of time. And again, while I'm talking to you, I'm so excited right now. So she gives us the way towards the mountain. Now it is dusk. Jungles, so it's all dark, plus raining. Leeches are all over our bodies. We are just praying, Devi, please call me. Please call us. Please give us shelter. And again, the second event in the same journey, out of nowhere in the dark comes a Nandi. And we hear tan, 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 tan. So we all of a sudden from nowhere in the dark appears a Nandi. I wouldn't say we catch hold of or we saw Nana from nowhere. Instantaneously, I don't know what happened, but that Nandi took a U-turn and started to run on the opposite direction. We followed. 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, we found the temple.
Okay.
Just 2 minutes, we found Babaji's kutia. It drops us to the kutia. Babaji is waiting for us, raining again. Oh, Kashmir wale Baba. He calls me Kashmir wale Babaji. Aap abhi aaya. We were waiting from, I don't know, where were you guys stuck? All that stuff happened. So this is how we reach that place. Already 2 experiences, right? Now, 3rd experience and the same trip. And we couldn't even do the darshan of Devi that evening because by the time we reached there it was already 8. So we thought of doing it in the morning tomorrow after the night. So we are sitting in front of the dhuna, we are having this conversation, we are lighting some chilam up. All of a sudden, Shloka, Babaji, and I will show you the picture of Babaji later on after the podcast, he turns blue. We have the darshana of Devi in Babaji one more time.
Oh. How did you know? Because of the blue?
I don't
Or just recognition, some recognition?
The voice changed, the eyes changed, the color of the body changed to blue. What do you want? I was, near to the dhuna. I was just laying like this in some pose. Also tired. I was listening to him. I was doing less of talking because I had already spoken with him. Gurunatha's first time. So these 2 people were doing the interaction. I was basking in the conversation or absorbing the thoughts. And I just, I sit like this up. Gurunatha is like in awe also. So, well, he does the sashtanga. I do the pranama in my heart. A couple of minutes or probably lesser than that. That time, Babaji said a few things about what Gurunatha had wished that he would talk to Babaji about. It hasn't still been spoken to him about. But then he starts talking about go with the lavender, this place, this. All that happened within a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and things become normal again. And we had... So these are 3 events just on the way to Babaji and while being at Babaji's little kutia. On the way back, there are a couple of more. It is just crazy. So you started with this share experiences. Every event is an experience, Shloka. In which ordinary event, if you have been able to found that profoundness, I think that defines your experience. That's how profound our experiences become. While on the way back down, Shloka, I see there is a tree. The tree has like a prong like this. In this prong, there is a mountain goat which is stuck with the neck, hanging in the air. Somehow it would just fallen down, right? Mountain goat.
Sure, yeah.
My heart came out of my mouth. I mean, you could feel the pain of it had froth coming out of its mouth. It was, always very jittery, almost struggling for life. Again, I shout, Guru. They thought something else happened. Some other amma comes. But anyway, so this goat was there. Somehow we figured out our own gymnastics to save that goat. We got hurt, Gurunatha got hurt, all that thing happened. But because of that goat, Shloka, something else happened I wouldn't want to say on the camera. But the same trip, while we are approaching the village where we have parked the car, that goat does something to save our life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So 2 days, 3 days worth of trip into the mountains. Wow. And how many experiences that we just spoke of? And this could be ordinary to some ordinary eyes. It was just not ordinary to me because I could see what is happening right then and there. There's no way I would forget that.
Yuvraj, make me understand the landscape of Shaivism. As I understand, there is Devata Shaivism, which is more dominant in the south of India. There is Trik and there's Advaita, which is more dominant in the north of India.
Yes.
Help me understand the distinction between Devta, Advaita and Trik.
सबसे पहले इस पॉडकास्ट को स्टार्ट करता हूँ मैं अपने गुरु और परंपराओं को स्मरण करते हुए. I would also want to pay my salutations to Devi, the Parashakti, as well as Shiva. So, paying salutations to all these 3, Trika, we start this conversation, all right? In the advent of Satyuga, or one of those Chatur Yugas, whenever they begin, and they always begin with slight difference. Okay, so we have a concept of time which is cyclical in nature, but the cycle is not one kind of cycle. There's a slight difference, and that is why all the Chatur Yugas, they have almost similar stories, but slightly different. You probably would have heard about Kagbhushundi, who mentions to Narada once in one of these conversations that I've had so many Ramayana passing through my eyes. I don't know how many times I forgot.
Oh,
yeah, there are 13, 14, 15 or 16 different kind of Ramayanas. The same Rama, same Sita, almost similar story. Probably the geography is a little bit different. Probably the characters are a tiny bit different. But the similar story revolves. So in the beginning of one of those Satyuga, somebody appears. Somebody appears with 5 different mukha or 5 different faces with 5 different karya. We call him Param Shiva. We call him Sri Kantanath. We call him by different names. Now he has 5 different mukha. Most of the people who are into Shaivism, they would at least resonate with Isana Deva, Tatpurusha, Aghora Deva, Vama Deva, and then Sadhyojata. These are 5 different mukha or faces of Shiva, 5 different manifestations of the same para energy. Para is something which is beyond us. Para comes from the word para.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So now these 5 different faces are there in a figure, and then they start talking about Tantra. So whatever they speak, each individual mukha or each individual face, when they start talking, whatever is being talked, it's called Tantra. So initially, all those 5 individual faces are talking about something which we know as one Tantra, second lineage of Tantra. Then there are 5 lineages of Tantra. And this is only Shaiva Tantra. Now the next stage, 2 mouths, they join up and then they start uttering another version or lineage of Tantra. First and the second, they start uttering another lineage of Tantra. Second and the third, they start with another lineage of Tantra. Third and the fourth, similarly, fourth and the fifth. Then 1, 2, 3 put together, they come up with another lineage of Tantra. 2, 3, 4, they come out with another lineage. So this is vast. And then there are different lineages of Tantra. There are Ganpati Tantra, there are Shakta Tantras, there are Vaishnava Tantras, right? I am just a student of a very fragmented one lineage from the entire gigantic umbrella of what we know as Shaivism. I am a humble student of Kashmiri Shaivism, which is monastic in nature, where there is no Dvaita, there is one. So everything actually comes out of from the same para that we just mentioned and dissolves into the same para. We know that para as Shiva or Parashiva. There are in basics fundamental 3 different kinds of Shaivism. One is Dvaita, which is dualistic as well as monastic in nature. Then one is absolutely dualistic in nature, which is called Shaiva Tantra. And then there are different scriptures for just Shiva Tantras. There are 10, 11 out of them. Then you have Rudra Tantras, and then you have Bhairav Tantras, which are 64 in nature, and they are absolutely monastic in nature, which is singular, which always tells you that you are Shiva or I am Shiva.
What I found fascinating about the Trika Tantra was that, in your words, Shiva is now seeing the world through Shakti's eyes. Shiva is recognizing his grandiosity and varchasva
Yes.
through Shakti. Help me understand the different, if I may add, interesting and exciting facets of Trika Tantra that you think the viewers might like to listen to.
Shiva is manifesting the whole world. Of course, we understand this, the entire sphere that we experience this life in is Shakti's sphere. I think we have had this conversation, and I was telling you before, if Shiva had created this world, it
very
would be a
dull.
boring world because there is no action in it. The moment Shiva is into action, it's in the sphere of Shakti. And the Shakti is not different from Shiva. It is his Shakti through which he does the whole manifestation. And this manifestation also has a reason. So we have a concept of 8 Devis, 8 raw manifestations of the Para energy or Parashakti. And these 8 energies or Shaktis or Devis, they also hang around with their 8 Devis.
Acha.
So then it becomes 64 in nature, right?
You know, Yuvraj, you had spoken about Deathless Yogis, right?
Yes.
Of course, there's Mahavatar Babaji. There is also in the Nath tradition the Gorakshnath.
Goraknath.
Goraknath or Gorakshnath?
I mean, yeah.
Either ways.
The name is Goraksha.
Okay.
Gau Raksha.
Ha. Tell me about some of these deathless yogis that we know in our, tradition, and especially the contemporary ones, if you can let me know of any.
You tell me, Shloka, how do you define death?
I don't think there is any actual death because life just goes on and on and on and on. There's only the body that's perishing.
Yes. Let's say in the contemporary meaning of what we are talking about death is leaving this particular body.
Correct.
The one that we experience samsara in.
Yeah.
And if this is a tool, you cannot work with the one tool for all the mechanics of it. So this is the tool which we at one have to leave. Once the realization is there that now I think this is not the road where I can drive the car. I think a bicycle is great. So you switch to bicycle. It's just the tool that you've changed, the machine that you changed. Similarly with death, there are people who would, or when I realize that my infiniteness is being limited by this finiteness, would you be happy with this
No.
tool?
It's going to be stifling. Yeah.
You're going to break free.
Yeah.
There are many souls like that who want to break free. Some of them, they have broken free. We call them as deathless masters or Amar Yogi or Chiranjeevi Yogi. You have hacked the code of life. So you could regenerate or keep playing with the same life forces for I don't know how many years together. It's you and I with the help of the Sharira. I'm saying help for I wonder what. But with the help of the Sharira, we lose a lot of life force every moment through all the 9 chidra that we have in our body. What's the point of having a bowl with 5 different holes? You keep filling it with water, it never is full. So, Deathless Yogi. In fact, I am going to one of my gurus to Kerala right now. And through you, I would want to let other people or tickle their fancies. People should go and Google Prabhakar Siddha.
148 years or something?
730.
Oh, yeah.
30,
Yeah. He's around,
you have
right?
heard, right?
Yeah.
So he is the guru of my guru.
Okay. Oh, wow. He's around, right?
He is.
He's lived 700
He
and so
has
many
lived
years.
730 odd years in 13 odd different bodies. So he has been changing bodies
Oh my God. Wow.
and different identities. But you know how to,
Like how Adi Shankara and all did.
yes. But that happened just once and for an experience.
Oh
He has
my
been living.
God.
And there are many, by the way.
So help me explain this Prabhakar ji. When you say different bodies, meaning his one body perishes and then he goes to another body,
Yes.
or while his body is existing and preserved, he goes to another body, then comes back
Both
and
ways.
goes to
You are not the body. That we all,
Yeah.
we are clear with this.
Yeah.
Right? Now to enter or the par kaya pravesha is another sadhana in Tantra where you enter somebody else's kaya, which means body. Par kaya, not my kaya, not my body. Pravesha, entering. The par kaya pravesh can happen in both the ways. Either you putting your own sharira safe, however, and in a way that it could hold life again, and then you enter somebody else's body, and it could be any body,
dead body or live body?
live body, dead body,
Live body?
yes, and not even necessarily a human body, a plant body, animal body,
Oh.
right? It's just par kaya. You are not limited, or your faculties, us, are not limited with the kind of faculties one body contains. Like our body, the human sharira has a different faculty than let's say, an elephant's or cows or Devi or yaksha. Everybody has a kind of sharira made out of different elements. But faculties are different as well. Most of the species who we see roaming around on earth, Parthiv again, they are made out of the same 5 elements, different proportions, slightly different faculties also. Some species can feel pain differently than you, pleasure differently, or hunger differently than you and I. So faculties change. But us, the Satya, the us, can take any body. Us is limited by faculties, be it external or internal, be it gross or subtle. It is not confined to those faculties. So you could enter many bodies, or you could regenerate bodies for yourself.
Physically regenerate?
Physically, you wanted to speak about Mahavatar Babaji. Now, recently, I also mentioned that I want to speak of him or about him, not so much in detail that I know, and that I know, I want to call it as detail, but well, that could be just a very superficial knowledge that I also have, right? We have in the parampara that I am also initiated into, I am initiated into 4 different paramparas and lineages.
You've done Nath and Shabbat,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So in one of them, Shiva is called Adi Shaktinatha or Adinatha. Yeah, so I remember I was telling you about a little bit of whatever my superficial knowledge about Babaji is. And I wonder, why do we call him Mahavatar Babaji? Everybody is an avatar. You could become Maha or Parama Avatara. Avatara means descension. Avataran means descending, right? Descending from where? Somewhere higher up, right? So where are you descending from? And then where are you ascending to? It's a question. From one of the experiences that I know firsthand through my guru is Babaji is not alone. No Babaji can be alone, by the way. All Babajis are going to have their Shaktis either within inside them or sitting next to them, Vamangi.
When you say Babajis, you mean mystics and yogis, right?
All the Babajis. So we call Mahavatar Babaji also Babaji or
Yeah.
Adinatha.
Right.
So let's say, so this story, okay? Gurunatha is doing his sadhana in Satopant, another high pass in Uttarakhand, the high mountains of Uttarakhand. So when he receives the first darshana of Babaji, in whichever form it was. The first question that comes out of his mind, brain, I wonder whatever you want to call it, because that's a state wherein this doesn't work. Logics don't work. But in his own words, he goes, Babaji, do you have a babi or a baby? Or are you all alone? Something like this would have cropped up in his mind, brains, whatever. And next moment, there is a shadow which comes out of Babaji and goes back in. That is the Shakti, baby or Babi. So each one of us actually have our own Babi inside us. Some choose to also have them next to them, like Shiva and Parvati, like Ram and Sita, like Krishna and Radha. Some may just choose to have that Shakti within inside them and then work on it, Kundalini.
Understood.
So, my understanding of Babaji again, I personally have just had glimpses of him, knowing that he was around somewhere, knowing that there was the presence a couple of times, but more than that, no. Now, off late, just about a month back, I don't know from where, somebody had received a picture of Babaji, which you will never ever Shloka find in any website of the internet. And I will show you that picture and how I have had the superficial experience of Babaji. That is the closest picture that I could have ever found. I don't know if I want to speak about him in more detail than this or not. Number one, there are many smokes around the stories of Babaji. And I'm
Okay.
talking about Mahavatar Babaji right now. From different books, from different biases, from their own spectacles, from their own fancy. And then a lot of other people that I have interacted personally with, I clearly find that they are lying through their teeth. I mean, I look at them, I know what you're talking, right? Well, what would I do? Fancies are fancies. You could laugh at them. But then there are many other yogis who have transcended the normal average human lifespan. And it could be miraculous to a lot of other people. There are many stories we hear about 250, 300, 700, 800, Ashwatthama.
I mean, Agastya Muni also for that matter.
Yes, there are Chiranjeevis. There have been thousands of years. But in whose years? Human years.
Human years, yeah. But not in their physical form, right? Or maybe in their physical form.
Why not?
After changing bodies?
Could be not. Maybe not.
Or the same body? The
Yes.
same body could also live for
Yes.
700 years, 10,000
Yes,
years?
100%. If you know how to regenerate your own body and if you do not lose energy, if your body knows how to keep regenerating itself forever, why would it leave? Or why would it decompose? Why would it age?
Before we get into the practices bit, when we look at Trishul, for example, Trishul is supposed to be a very central symbol of Trik. And I remember in one of the conversations you mentioned that there are 3 Shaktis and there is some connection between the two, right? Shakti is a very integral part of Trik. So can you explain to me this whole dynamic of Shakti in Trik?
There are many triads in Trika. That is why it is called Trika, means 3. So there is another story in Kashmiri Shaivism or Trika that we talk about 5 different mukha or faces or kriya of Shiva. Then we have 5 different attributes of Shiva. So who do we call Shiva? So the scholars or the rishis, they gave 5 different unique attributes to something that they call Shiva. And only if you have those 5 attributes, you are Shiva. So what are these 5 things that Shiva can do? So Shiva has 5 Shaktis. So Chitta Shakti, Ananda Shakti, and then there are 3 others. It's called Iksha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. So somebody who has all these 5 energies or Shakti in absolute and can use it at its will, which is another Shakti called Swatantriya Shakti, which is independent. So there are another 5 things that Shiva can do. What are those 5 things? So Shiva can create Srishti in Hindi. Shiva can also preserve what he has created. It's called Sthiti. Samhara, dissolution. That's what Shiva can do. And then there are another 2 attributes of Shiva or Shaktis of Shiva, through which one is concealment. So after the creation, the preservation, the dissolution, this whole cycle is continuing, but you cannot see Shiva in it. Can you find? It's concealed. But it is also available to those who are seeking. So it is the grace through which Shiva unfolds his Shiva Tattva to you, to me, to everyone. So how do we take out those layers to realize that we are Shiva? So this is the last Shakti of unfolding, which is also called grace. So there are so many
Facets.
facets of Shiva. Now in Trika, we talk about many different 3. So we started with how is the Shrishti coming into picture. So we, in the Kashmiri Shaivism, we have 36 different elements, or in Hindi you call tattva. I think Vedanta has 24 or 25. We have slapped another 11 on top of it. So in the top 5, from the 36th element where Shiva resides, all the way until the last element, which is the Prithvi element, earth.
My God.
So there are 36 different elements, and each one is important. Once you understand, and I was telling somebody just about yesterday, memorizing these 36 elements is one thing, right? But seeing through these 36 elements, because we live our life in 23 elements, starting from the Prithvi element, which is the earth, all the way until Purusha.
Okay.
So we experience the entire experience of life in 23 different elements.
Births to deaths.
No, not really. That is, birth to death is a journey. Elements would be like 5 different elements called Pancha Bhuta.
Yeah,
The
earth, fire, wind, water,
yes,
space.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you go to the subtler elements.
Okay.
Right? So we start with the Panch Mahabhutas,
Yeah.
which is the grossest is earth. Then you go a little up, you get water. And then you go a little higher up, you get fire. And then Akasha. Akasha, which is ether, is an element wherein all those remaining 4 elements are doing their play. So this provides a space for the remaining 4 elements to do their play. And who is playing with these 4 or 5 elements? It's Prakriti, which is under Purusha, which is again the 23rd Tattva. Then we go a little higher up from the 5 grosser elements. We get 5 subtler elements.
So you and I right now are in gross elements.
We experience and perceive the world in the 5 grosser elements. In fact, we can't even see Akasha.
Correct.
Even if we see Akasha, when we try to approach Akasha is further up. Or
Correct.
is further somewhere in any direction, all the 8 directions. So we don't approach Akasha. It is perceivable but unapproachable. Now we go a little bit higher up from these 5 elements. We have another 5 subtler elements, which is called Indriya. So we also have different Indriya, which is, let's say, faculties, through which we experience these elements. How would you experience Rupa or form if you did not have eyes? Now, beyond that, there are another 11 elements which Kashmiri Shaivism or Trika Tantra slaps over. So beyond Purusha. So let's go up to the Purusha element where you and I are individual, under which the Prakriti lies. And Prakriti also plays with 3 different elements, which is Manas or Mano, Buddhi and Ahamkar. So all these 3 subtler, even more far subtler elements that we live in or we experience our lives, we have an access to sort of
Manipulate them?
manipulate or work around with them. People say man is not controllable, but we do try to control man. This is one of those things we do in pranayama or different practices in spirituality. This is one thing that we try to have a control on. Buddhi, yeah, aham, which is I, the I-ness in everything. So these 3 plus Prakriti and Purusha makes about 23 different elements which we are experiencing right now. So it's beautiful also. I mean, in the course
Yeah.
of the conversation, from the 36th element, which is Shiva, which we know we are, and we experience this whole Shrishti in the 23 different elements, our job is to do what? If Shiva has manifested from the Sadashiva state all the way to the 5 grosser elements, all the way down to Prithvi, there must be a roadmap to go find Shiva. This is the same road. It's the same staircase.
What are these 11 tattvas, Yuvraj?
So after Prakriti and Purusha, there are other 5, they're called Kunchika. I don't know what they're called in English. but they're
Limitations?
Limitations. So those limitations are on Purusha. That is why Purusha is an individual, limited soul. Sometimes it could be, or most of the times it could be the limitation of geography, the place.
Okay.
Like you and I cannot be at 2 different places at one point of time, right? And limitation of time, kala, limitations of knowledge, kala, limitations of energy. So all these 5 different limitations that we have ensures that Purusha is
An illusion.
not illusion, but it's limited. Why do we feel so incomplete? Right? We always have this feeling of something more. Let's just invest our time into something, some activity, something else. That something else is incompleteness. That is why you know that you're not Shiva. Because Shiva is Purna. It is not looking for anything else. It is not desiring for anything that he doesn't have. We don't have a lot of things. Now, let's come back to limitations. All these 5 limitations are capped with something called Maya. So after Purusha, then there are another 5, then there is Maya. After Maya, then there are 5 other elements. Let's start with the top. So it's Sadashiva or Shiva. The first 36 tattva is Shiva itself. When Shiva realizes that he is Shiva, even just the realization of it is an act. In the movies, when somebody cracks up with a memory, he wakes up or she wakes up in the hospital bed, who am I?
Yeah.
The identity, right? So the moment you identify that whatever you are, that realization is another act. This is an act of realization who you are. When Shiva realizes, forget about even manifestation and Karan and everything else comes way down the line. But even the realization is called bimba or pratibimba. There are many terms to it, Shloka. It's prakasha and vimarsha is another term that we use in Kashmiri Shaivism. Prakasha means lights and vimarsha means something which the light is being reflected upon. Otherwise, there is no light if there is. You cannot perceive light if there is no reflection happening, right? So
Correct.
the moment reflection happens, that's a vimarsha or Shakti. And from here onwards, the Shakti sphere starts. Of course, not different from Shiva. It's Shiva's Shakti. Because now Shiva is a realized Shiva, it's the sphere of Shakti which begins.
And that's an act. It's an act because that's not his natural self.
It is
Reflecting
realization.
Realization also is not the natural self, right?
So there's a school of philosophy under Kashmiri Shaivism. It's called Pratibimba Vada or Pratyavigna or different other schools. In Pratyavigna, they tell you that you got to realize you're Shiva. How would you do that? There are many layers that you got to uncover. It's like peeling an onion. Another is Pratibimba Vada, wherein they say that this entire Shrishti or the entire universe is a reflection of Shiva. So what is it? Is a reflection of Shiva, recognition of Shiva. So imagine there is a cognition already which exists. We are recognizing, right? Okay. So, and that is why if it is the reflection of Shiva all the way down to the 36th tattva, which is Prithvi or earth, when we perceive, because we are experiencing from the right bottom of the pit,
Correct.
we experience the opposite of reflection, which is the Prithvi tattva first, and then the last is Shiva. It's reflection. Okay. So now come down to Shakti sphere, which is just the second element of it. Now she, I wouldn't say trifurcates herself in different karya or kyare. Because it's Shiva's primary para Shakti, it would also want to do a lot of things like our own energy. We take how many different karya do we do with the same Shakti in the Jagrita Avastha? So millions of things,
correct.
right? Shakti does a millions of things. So even when we put ourselves into a certain act or an action, we have this will or desire to begin with, right? And then we would come to the next state of evolution would be, or next stage of evolution would be to gather enough jnana for the pranayama or for the act to
Action,
happen.
yeah.
Yes. That is the second Shakti. And the third and the last one is, and most importantly, obviously, is the Kriya Shakti, where the will and the jnana, contemplation as well as gathering of knowledge, is now being or put into execution. So now all these Shaktis combined together, one act is happening. Without all these three Shaktis coming into unison or one sync, act cannot happen.
Correct.
Right? So now you have 5 Shuddha Vidya or 5 subtler elements, which is Shiva, Shakti, the 3 different trifurcations of Shakti, which is Iksha, Gyan, and Kriya. After that, now comes the layer of Maya. And from there, everything else is Ashuddha.
Because it has Kanchukas.
Because it has got Kanchukas and it's got a layer of Maya into it, and it's limited.
Why does the layer of Maya come after that?
Imagine, let me ask another question. We all are Shiva, right? So why is it that Shiva can create and we cannot create? Well, you're going to ask me a counter question. Why do you say that we don't create? We also do create. We create a lot of things. We have created this whole world. We have created this microphone, chair, and everything else, right? But to create something like this, we needed something else. We just changed the form and the structure of the same matter, of the same Shiva. And we like to believe that we created things. But the creation is already happening from something which is created. Right? We're changing the structure and the form of
Correct.
it. So
Yeah.
we aren't fully Shiva. Because Shiva is something who wouldn't really require something else to build something else. So for you and I to look at our pratibimba, we need another object, a reflector. Here in this case, Shiva doesn't need a reflector, because if Shiva needs a mirror to look at himself, there is already something else than Shiva,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
This cannot happen. So Shiva is basically reflecting himself into himself. Can this be done by us? Can we fathom it from our human mind? Not really. Our mind exists, Shloka, because we want and we see the world in polarity, right? There is hot and cold, and in between hot and cold, the absolute hot and cold is where our perception resides. Mind exists because of this polarity. Mind is not accustomed to even think of singularity,
Yeah.
which is Shiva.
Ah.
So this mind has to be traversed. This has to be penetrated. This has to cross. Man, buddhi, ahamkara, man, buddhi, ahamkara. Buddhi and man has to be crossed for the Purusha to break off these limitations they are lying on top of. Before it goes to the world of Maya and then another penetration, well, eventually at the end of the day, with His grace only, you realize that you are Shiva. Or you know that you are Shiva.
Gangotri is your Kshetra of sadhana. Very interesting. This analogy came to me when I was doing research. Ki Gangotri is the mature Ganga, right? And the source of Gomutri is supposed to be in Gomukh, which is upstream 18 kilometers in Gomukh.
Yes.
However, hydrologically, that is still not the source.
Yes. So what's the source? I want to know from you what you know. So where is the source coming from? You're coming back from there, by the way.
No, are you geographically asking me?
Yes.
Kailash?
Mansarovar.
Mansarovar.
Yes.
But geologists say that there is no actual source. It's not been
They
found.
will find out.
Acha?
Yes. There's got to be, let's just say, sphere or the layer of water within, inside or underneath the surface of Earth. Like there are so many different metals. Everything resides within, inside the garbha of Prithvi. Water would also be something like that. And there could be many different water channels that appear to us on the surface of it as different water channels. They would be one source somewhere underground. I'm not saying all of them, but a few of them. Mansarovar actually is a source of a few more rivers, including Indus, including Saraswati. Coming back to Gangotri.
Yeah.
Gangotri is not also where Ganga comes from. We call it Gangotri because Bhagirathi comes from there. And then mixes up or joins Mandakini later down the line, then Alaknanda later down the line. There are many, many different channels of rivers in that kshetra, which collectively is called Ganga. There is something called Assi Ganga.
Okay.
There are 80 different streams. All of them meet to become Ganga. However, let's just go back to Gomukh. We say that it is a source of Ganga, at least from where the water feels like coming out from that small tiny cave, about 17 odd kilometers above
Gangotri
temple. And then there is another place called Tapovan, which is
Yeah.
another 5-6 kilometers above, and then Nandanvan. That is where one of my Guruji actually just went. So I'm coming back from Gangotri just 2 days before, okay?
Okay.
So I wanted to spend some time in my cave and, I could.
Oh, you have a cave, is it?
Small one, yes.
What do you do in that cave?
Nothing.
Sadhana. Nice. I like that.
Yes, chill. I mean, that's one place that gives you the time to be yourself. The less exchange or interaction with the outside world.
But why is that a problem? That's Shakti, no? Or that's Shiva.
It is, but Shakti is going to corrupt you if you're not
Retreating.
Shiva yourself.
Okay.
In fact, when I was there in Gangotri for about 10 days right now, I was privileged to meet a couple of sadhus who were coming back from Tapovan. And they shared obviously, when two people sit down, you would want to share each other's experiences. And I got talking, obviously, because I would like to absorb as much as through their experiences. There are unexplored places or less explored places in this Prithvi, in this Bhuloka, which give us, profound is just an adjective, experiences that, you never thought exist.
Acha.
I'm trembling right now. It's one of my experiences again. The reason why I'm very connected to that particular cave in Gangotri is not because I also think to myself, am I limiting myself in one place? It is a limitation. at the end of it,
Correct, yeah.
Why am I running back to one particular place? I call it a garbha. I call it my womb, my second womb. But why that place only? I could create that same energy anywhere else where I am. But I am still limited. Thankfully and gladly, I know my limitations right now. And I can self-evaluate myself to know that I have that limitation of geography. So I run back to that gufa all the time. That gufa is important to me because I've had some experiences. One of those experiences was a sakshat of Hanumanji with my eyes closed as well as open. I am just trembling right now. It's blissful. It's more than you and I can contain.
In Trika Tantra, what I really liked was it's very apt for people in the modern day life because it sort of is open-minded, to be very simplistically put, right? You don't have to abstain from pleasure. You don't have to abstain from anger. You don't have to abstain from the rawness of emotions. Everything can be sadhana. Every facet of your day-to-day life from morning to night can be sadhana. Yawning can be sadhana. Laughing can be sadhana. Sneezing can be sadhana, right? Eating, all of that can be sadhana. If I want to get to that state, can you give us some techniques that people could maybe grasp online that could help them towards this journey?
Let me try and structure it well so it goes out to only those people who are really absolutely in the preliminary stage.
Yeah.
So in the whole scheme of things in Kashmiri Shaivism, and you beautifully put, there is a coordinate where you know you are, and then there is a coordinate where you know where you have to reach. It's like the GPS, right? In Trika Tantra, we have 4 different kinds of upaya. Upaya in English means way. There are 4 Vedas in Sanatana Dharma, and then there are Upavedas, there are Aranyakas, there are Brahmanas, then there are many bifurcations or a stream of it, which would just give you the same knowledge which is coded in the Vedas, but it's explained in a certain way.
Okay.
Then we have another lineage which is agamic in nature, which is it could be either Vaishnava Agama, it could be either Shaiva Agama, Rudra Agama, Bhairava Agama, Shakta Agamas. There are many different kind of Agamas. So Agamas are mostly taken into account by people who are following Tantrism or Tantra. Okay, everything which comes out of the mukha of Shiva is an agama itself. So we follow agamic lineage, and it's not like they are very different from each other. They are different slightly, but not at conflict with each other. They both make you realize the slice of the same truth, or then that slice could become bigger depending of our expansion of consciousness. So we could be a tiny bit Shiva or Batuka Bhairava, or we could be Kala Bhairava. Okay, so there is this whole spectrum that we can experience this expansion into. Okay, so now in the agamic literature, when Shiva is doing the creation or doing the manifestation through his own Shakti, and many different kinds of Shakti going down the line. It is from the absolute most subtlest tattva, it becomes the Prithvi tattva, which is the most grossest tattva, which is the earth element, right? So our journey, and we are called Parthiva Sharira. We are Parthiv in nature, right? Because 50% of us is earth element. From Prithvi all the way until the Shiva tattva, there is a journey. And then there's a roadmap which Kashmiri Shaivism beautifully gives you. So we were talking about there are 3 different upaya or 4 different upaya. We cut down the 4th because, well, it's not an upaya because you and I are not doing it. It's just happening because of the grace of Shiva. It just happens. There are 3 different upaya. At the top of it sits Shambhava upaya, or the way of Shambhu. The next one is Shakti upaya, which is the way of Shakti, or the sphere or the house of Shakti. The next one is Anava upaya, which is the house of atomic beings like us, you and I, Jiva. By the way, in the scheme of things in Trika, it's also called Trika because there are 3 different major categories in which the entire Srishti is divided. Shiva, Shiva Shakti,
And
then everything
Manushya.
else which Shakti created is Jiva. Everything else except Shiva and Shiva Shakti is Jiva. It could be planets, it could be Milky Ways, it could be anything else. It could
Okay.
be as little as an ant. Everything is Jiva. You and I are Jiva. And we are Apurna Shiva. Every Jiva is
wow.
an Apurna Shiva.
Okay.
So for us, or people who are experiencing this entire Srishti in this frame of mind, very connected to the objectivity, we are Jiva, and our journey from Jivatva to Shivatva is the journey that we got to undertake. So the first set of upayas the Kashmiri Shaivism or Trika talks about is a lot to do with externality of you. Because Shiva is now being external. That is how it has manifested and become whatever it is to pursue. So this external journey has to begin from external, which is the Dvaita, wherein I know that I am this, and I am doing these things. It could be either yajna or doing, your sandhya, your
Mudras.
your
Mantras.
chanting of mantras, your dhyana, your yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, everything else, everything external in nature, which is to put you to that single pointedness of singularity. If at all, if in one or whichever lifetime we cross this school or we pass this
External.
yes, externality of it, then we come to Dvaita Advaita, which is also called Para, because this is the Shakti that we use to then go to the next school of evolution. It's called the House of Shakti or the Path of Shakti or Shaktopaya, where you basically internalize all those external activities that you were engaged into. You have found that single pointedness of your mind, and you're trying to just establish your connection a little more deeper every time you do it. It could be like an example. When we sit for dhyana, we do a few things, like we would probably clean our hands, wash our feet, close
Bathe.
our eyes, do a little bit of mudra, and etc. People would have different activities before they want to put themselves into the state of dhyana. And then there is a journey, and the journey puts you into that state of dhyana. This happens in Shaktopaya. In Shambhavopaya, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to focus yourself in the middle of your eyebrows or your heart chakra or your root chakra or whatever. It just happens because of your will. Remember, will, then comes jnana, which is the knowledge, and then kriya. So all these three upayas are also kriya, jnana, and iksha based. That is why they're also called, in the bottom of it is kriya upaya, which is happening because of so many activities that we are engaging into. Now, activities are a little subtler, and that is where the jnana upaya comes into picture. Now, there, at the top of it sits iksha upaya. You have to just will to be merged with that thing, and you are right there. Beyond which we were talking about this Anupaya. Anupaya is, again, it's the will of Shambhu. He graces you or me or anybody else, and you just hit the realization that you are Shiva. It's just the memory that you recognize, oh, I wasn't Shloka.
How do we get there?
It is a kula system.
Okay.
In which there are many different kulas, and kulas are of Devi.
Yeah.
So you basically, and remember we were talking about how the road or the arch to enter the Shiva's sphere is Shakti,
Correct.
right? Without crossing that sphere or without approaching or without having that Shakti, you cannot be Shiva. Shiva is the holder of Shakti. So the only way we would be able to enter that sphere of Shiva or realize our Shiva Tattva is through the sphere of Shakti. Different houses of Shakti. That is what you get initiated into if you are into Kaula or Kula system, which is very intertwined with the Kashmir Shaivism or Trika Tantra. Because eventually in the beginning of the Trika system, when it came down into picture, Shiva basically gives this jnana to Sri Kantanatha. Okay, another form of Shiva. So, okay, even in Trika system, there are 5 different kinds of Guru-Shishya relationship which are mentioned. Right?
Acha.
So, how does the Shaktipata happens from the Guru or from the giver to the receiver who is a Shishya? So, there are 5 different kinds of bonds they talk about, right? In Hindi, I don't know what it's called, but bond, sambandha, mahasambandha, right? That's when Shiva gives that one jolt of 14,000 voltage of current to you, or I'm just saying for the sake of it. But then that is where you cannot hold that Shaktipata in your own physical body. Then this becomes a prison. You got to leave. You cannot contain that energy in your physical body. The next kind of a Guru-Sishya Sambandha would be Divya Sambandha, where you are able to contain that energy, but you are in trance. I mean, you are not you. There is another one which even tops all that. Even in the human form, if there is a Guru and Shishya, and if they are able to, while the Diksha is happening or the Shaktipata is happening, if they both have merged into each other, this is considered by Mahacharya Abhinavagupta and the proponents of Kashmir Shaivism is even better than the divine Sambandha.
Acha.
If this could happen, which it doesn't happen, Shloka, you know what? We are human beings. And no matter what, even while I'm talking to you or interaction is happening, there would probably be one minuscule part of our brains which would be putting you in a certain compartment. How is Shloka? What is Shloka? What could she be? All that thing keeps happening. Even when we meet with our guru and when we have these sort of conversations, there is always a slice of our mind which would be judging that guru. Why is that guru like this? He is wearing black today. He didn't shower today also. All these things, we keep gathering these information or impressions about even the guru that we are receiving things from. Similarly, it goes with the guru. Guru is also thinking, what kind of Shishya I'm going to initiate into? What if he's not deserving? What if he has something otherwise in his head? Who knows? All these thoughts or impressions that creates that barrier or that knot, because of which the guru and the Shishya, that merger doesn't happen. It's the same thing with I, that I doesn't die, that I want to be Shiva. Until the time this I is there, you cannot recognize your Shivatva, right? So these are knots. So we create our own knots to spoil what could have come our way. You started with this question as to, if I could give some techniques.
Yeah.
The regular techniques, at least even in the Anavopaya, which is the externalization of all the rituals and all the acts and actions.
Yeah.
It's very surprisingly similar to Hatha Yoga.
Okay.
We also have certain pranayams. We also have certain mudras and asanas. We also have certain guru mantras. And this will be different from you and I, even if we are following the same achara, because our gurus could be different, because our devis could be different. But the ritualistic part of it, or the act part of it, is very similar to Hatha Yoga. You also have a lot of mantra chanting. You also have a lot of swa adhyaya. Swa adhyaya can also be bifurcated into two different categories. One is do the swa adhyaya, which is the adhyaya of self, and adhyaya by self, which is swadhyaya. This also comes into picture. Then there is the grace of Guru and Shiva. 25% here. As Abhinavagupta says, in this upaya, or the school of evolution to the next stage, you are putting your 75%, the Guru puts 25. In the next one, Shaktopaya, the Guru puts 50, you put 50.
Okay.
In the Shambhavapaya, it's only the Guru who does it. So yours is just 25% will left. What is the will for? To surrender yourself at the feet of the Guru. There is another story, okay, about Shiva. I think your audience is going to like. So one of these yuga, there are a bunch of Maharishis, really realized rishis, along with their kids and wife in the jungle. They're doing their tapas. They were doing their tapas for Shiva. Shiva says, all right, there are a bunch of these wonderful people who are calling my name, trying to reach out to me, so let's try and find out what is going on. So he takes a form of something, which is, if you see some being like this, you wouldn't be able to decipher what this thing is. Naked, yet beautiful, elegant. It's Shiva, right? With horns, this, that, etc. In the jungle. Now, when he comes around that ashram, so let's say there are 10 rishis and 10 rishikas, their wives, and then some kids. They're all doing certain kind of anusthana. In that time, those women were in the kitchen, preparing prasadam and everything for everybody else. And the rishis and the rishi kumara, they are doing their own yagna. Shiva starts strolling around the ashram. First, the women look at him. And they all look at this beautiful creature. I mean, there are no words to naked yet. And they are lost in their own thoughts, the thoughts of desiring the man. And they are consumed in their own world. Now, the rishis happen to see Shiva. And they also see a crazy kind of creature, yet eloquent, beautiful, radiating. And then they see their wives. And then they know that their wives are thinking about this man. Now imagine what they must be thinking. They are rishikas. They are not normal women also. So they are thinking, who is this creature? And we have been doing this tapasya from I don't know how donkey's years, trying to attain Shiva. We all have been engaged in the same act. Now see the women, our women. They are lusting over a creature who is not even beautiful, radiant. Okay, great. So let's just curse him. So all 10 of them, they grouped together. They started to curse Shiva. How come you are like this in this avastha around, a particular ashram which is full of rishis? We all are doing a certain anusthana. This is a sattvic place. In their own understanding, Shiva is not bothered. And the women are still lusting. Now, the next stage of anger and some more curses, some more. Nothing happens to Shiva. Now they all group together. Now they're huddling up. They're trying to find out who this creature could be because we are Brahmarshis. Then one says, what? I had given curse to Brahma once and he had to. Somebody else says, I had cursed Indra a couple of times and he had to. And then they're talking about their own timelines wherein they cursed many different deities and manifestations, and they all had to suffer because of their curse. And they're wondering who this creature could be who's not even taking our curse. Somebody beyond Brahma? They don't know, right? And Shiva is noticing all those thoughts and thinking, so these people wanted to become Shiva, attain Shiva Tattva. And what did I do? But just by coming here and roaming around near their ashram is two people. One now is lusting, one is in anger. Gone. Now he walks off. Now these guys are even more perplexed. Now who had come here? Who was there who did not even suffer our curse? Who was it that, created so much of anger inside us? We are rishis. And lust in women, they are rishikas. So they thought of going to Brahmaji. So they all go to Brahmaloka. And they were like, Parampita, this is what has happened. And we are still perplexed. We don't just know what has happened to us. So Brahma Ji is like, he puts himself in a dhyana avastha. For a moment, he realizes who was it. And he stands on his lotus, wherever it is, and does the dandavat. Because he realized who he was. And then he gets angry. It's like, you son of idiots. You 10 people, you call yourself Brahmarishis. And you did not realize who had come venturing around your ashram. It was Shiva. And then they all go. So they are doing, I am sorry, Shiva, please give me darshana. We were murkha, idiots, agyani, but nothing happens, right? Shiva had come, given him the darshana and gone. So the story continues later down the line, and of course, another bouts of Purusharana, another bouts of sadhana, this, that, etc. All that happened. Of course, at some point of time, they would have attained the Shiva Tattva or the drishti to realize who Shiva is. Come to Guru. Guru gives us that clarity. If you were Shiva sitting in front of me like this, and I did not have the sight to recognize you, how ironic,
Correct.
right? There is nothing called sannyasa in Kashmiri Shaivism
Oh.
or in the whole gamut of this Trika or Tantra system. How would you define sannyasa? So sannyasa, as far as, again, in my very humble capacity, what I understand is it's the nyasa or the establishment or the anchoring in Satya, which is Shiva. Or you could call it Narayana, you could call it Shakti, call it whatever. So when you have yourself established in that truth, it's called sannyasa. In contemporary times, I think it's more prevalent because we sort of associate sannyasa with the leaving or renouncing things.
Correct.
Yeah. Thinking that neti, this is not true, this is not true, this is not true, not that, not that, not that, not that. So if you are, let's say, in this samsara, which is again in my humble capacity, I know this as Shiva or the extension or the manifestation of Shiva. Why shouldn't I engage with it?
Engage with it, but you should know when to withdraw and retreat, which most of the people don't know because they get caught up and entangled
What
in the
is the
samsara.
withdrawal from?
Withdrawal from getting entangled.
Yes. Yes.
I mean it that way.
Yes, it's like most of us, we just don't know how to balance this. We have emotions and many, many emotions. People think that I am emotionless. It's not like that. Everybody runs because there are certain emotions in us, right? Are the emotions controlling us? We
For
probably
most
go to
people,
a
yeah.
psychiatric
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Or are we controlling our emotions? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Is a cigarette smoking you or are you smoking the cigarette? It's the same balance. When you said being able to engage with the external samsara, or you're trying to find out a balance between your engagement and your retreat. So finding that fine-tuned balance where you are the master of Shaktis within inside you, that means you are Shiva. If you are not, then Shakti is playing you all the time.
And that's not the...
That's not the right way to do it. It's going to irrevocably ruin your life.
But they'll say, we are in Shakti. How does it matter?
Because Shakti needs to be in control. If Shakti is out of control, it is just going to cause...
Havoc. Can you give us any one technique that could help us at least work towards the Shiva Tattva?
There are many, 5, let's say.
Okay.
I remember in some time back, I was also reading Valmiki Ramayana. And I'm very privileged that I've been over it like through 2, 3, 4 times. And every time that you read a book or every time that you read a poetry or anything else, right, you get a little distinct or more profound meaning of the same line. Similarly, it happens with when you're reading scriptures. So I say the first thing would be to have enough time and dedication to begin your Swadhyaya, that external Swadhyaya. Internal Swadhyaya takes time. But you could start with a book. You could start with Shiva Sutras. You could start with Shiva Purana. You could start with the stories of Shiva. You could start with the Ramayana. You could start with any other scripture. Believe me, Shiva and Rama, they're not different. Okay? If you go over to those characters, like when I was reading Ramayana for the first time, the one character that just was stuck to me was Rama. When you go watch a movie, you want to be like the lead actress or you associate your attributes to certain that matches up. While you're reading a book like this or any other way, you would want to become like the main character or the lead of the story. I think it started like that with me. So it helps. At one time, deity is also mantra. Right? Or mantra is the manifestation of the deity in the energy form, in the sound form. So when you chant a particular mantra shloka, a slice of or the ounce of that energy also starts to reside within inside you. It's not coming from somewhere up or down. It already is within inside us, right? In Tantra, our whole body is the universe. Where different sections, the Rudra, the Vishnu, the Brahma, different lokas in our body, right? Anyway, so that knowledge or that deity or that energy that blooms within inside us. Let's say we are doing a Shiva mantra or a Rama mantra. That Ram Tattva will start to bloom within inside you. That Ram Tattva will start growing the more you are consistent with your efforts and your practices. One fine day, you will be drowning into that Ram Tattva, which was just a singular entity within inside. It just grows and drowns everything into that Tattva. So you become a Rama Maya. Okay? Okay. So Swadhyaya is great. And over is good. Swadhyaya, I think, also brings you closer to the next guide,
Acha.
probably the next guru. I think Japa is also great. Is also another Swadhyaya, or trying to water that seed which is within inside you, or becoming a sapling right now, right? So you water that plant a bit more by chanting the names of whatever deity that you feel connected with. Because I am a Shaivite, I would just go Namah Shivaya.
How do you say, is it Am Namah Shivaya or Om Namah Shivaya?
Thank you for asking me this question, but through you, I would like to also say, unless you are initiated into any mantra which has Omkar into it,
Okay.
recite.
Okay. So Om Namah Shivaya, Am Namah Shivaya should not be recited by
Never
regular energy.
unless you are initiated into a parampara by a certain guru.
I'm glad you
himself.
said that.
So if it has been given to you by a guru, now depends a qualified guru or the non-qualified. Non-qualified guru, if that is how you're getting it, well, at least you are not accruing that karma. It's the guru.
Aha.
But if a qualified guru is initiating you into a mantra which has Om or Swaha or Namaha, you bear the fruit because it's coming to you from the whole, not just the guru. Guru is a madhyam through which the mantra comes to you, or the rituals come to you, or the jnana comes to you. But it's coming to him by his guru, and it becomes a lineage. The whole lineage, if you go at the top of it, sits Shiva. So you are in some or the other way, through many ancestry or many bodies in the same lineage or the jnana parampara, you get what is at the top, which is Shiva. Okay, so if your guru has initiated you into a mantra which has Omkar in it, in whichever pronunciation or intonation that is supposed to be given to you, you pronounce that Omkar in that way. There are different versions of the same Omkar. It's the entire Shrishti which is encapsulated into this sound. Om. Yeah?
So what is Om and then what is Am?
It's the different intonation you use for different purposes of it. On what sound, these 3.5 sounds that this whole Srishti is made of, or the Aum is made of, each carries a particular phonetics or particular sound. And by stressing on one particular sound, you're stressing on that sort of outcome.
Okay.
Like is for the beginning, O is for the preservation, and Ma is the Maheshwara, which is for the dissolution. Ma, Ma. And then there is a Matra, that's Shakti. So one of my gurus, Shloka, so he goes like this. When we spoke of these 3.5 sounds creating that whole Srishti, or when the whole Srishti is encapsulated in this sound, remember you would very frequently hear about something. They say, in the beginning there was Shabda. It all comes from the sound.
Yeah.
What sound? It is all encapsulated in one sound worth 3.5 sounds or letters. So yeah, one of my gurus, he goes, we hear a lot of people actually go in with Om or other bija without being initiated into it and without even knowing what it means really, right? What if Om is supposed to take you to the para and you're not still willing to or evolved enough to or not prepared to lose or kill that I? What if your desires are going on a yacht or a aeroplane or something else, or engaging with many different kinds of things which are available, which isn't wrong either, if it is happening in balance. But what if you're and I not prepared to merge into the Shiva? What if I'm not willing or ready to lose that I? But you're doing something which is making sure that everything around you is dying slowly, so that I also dies. Imagine the kind of conflict that somebody would go through.
Yeah.
Somebody who wants to become a business tycoon, and doing something which is slowly killing that everything else which could make him into a tycoon. That's a conflict.
Yeah.
So that's how my guru says, don't, the best and the safest way is to, because the safest mantra is the Nama mantra. Any Nam. There are many.
So Shambho.
There's a mantra.
And?
Any mantra, Rama. Ram. Okay.
No, but if
Another
if-
question.
Okay. Yeah.
Hanumanji.
Yeah.
What does he recite? What is his mantra? Ram.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a name, but that's a mantra. And what potent mantra that thing is. Let's not just get into the rigmarole of am I doing a panchakshari or sodashi or this and that.
No, but if I want to attract the Shiva Tattva, then I
Yeah.
will not chant Ram. I will chant something to do with the sounds of Shiva, right?
I used to believe that. And I'll tell you a story. But if you want to attain Shiva Tattva, you obviously go Shiva Shiva or Param Shiva, Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha. There are many other mantras without that Om or the Bija. Now the story.
What is a bija? Om is a bija?
Om is the Bija.
And
It's the
these-
Bija of the Bija. It's the seed of the seeds. It's the primary. Pratham. If you want to attract, what did you say? If you want to attract Rama, you won't do Shiva mantra.
Vice versa. Yeah. If I
Vice
want to
versa.
attract the Shiva
I have had a very different feeling, Shloka.
Okay.
Okay, I was the guy who would greet you with Jai Shri Rama a few years
Okay.
back, right? And I also sort of, in the hindsight, look back at my journey and I see how I became a Shaivite. There is no Shaivite in my family or the family that I'm born into. Okay, the people who are Shakta, the people who are Vaishnava, I am the only dark sheep, black sheep, whatever. So I don't know how and when the switch happened, but when I look back in the hindsight, I see how it would have happened. The moment the Rama Tattva resides in you and becomes bigger, you cannot just say Jai Shri Ram. Who did Rama worship? He's on the way to Lanka, he's in Rameshwaram, and he wants to worship a deity. He makes a Shivalinga of sand, Balu Keshwar. One temple in Mumbai, by the way. Balkeshwar, they say, right?
Valkeshwar comes from there? That
Balu
Valkeshwar?
Keshwar. That's Balu Keshwar.
Valkeshwar, that stretch, that
Yes,
area has come from
yes,
there?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
So remember we were talking about there are many, many Ramayanas and has happened in many, many timelines. I wonder what timeline is that into? What yuga is that into? But that's Balukeshwar and it's made by Rama. Then there is another one in Rameshwaram. So when he goes, he makes a Shivalinga and he worships. When you are Rama, you will find yourself worshipping Shiva and vice versa again.
Oh, vice versa.
Yes.
So Shiva is going to worship Ram?
Yes. Hasn't he always been? Doesn't he come to take the darshan of Ram when Ram is born in Ayodhya? He is eager. When would Narayana come in that form so I can go and have a darshana in his human form? So they both reside in each other's heart. They both worship each other. I wouldn't have realized if this hadn't happened in my own experience. I spent some time in Uttarkashi. There's a small town in Uttarakhand, by the way. And because when we say Kashi, we obviously associate it with
Banaras.
Shiva, Rudra,
Okay.
something on those lines,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And in one of those times when I was like a beginner to go into Uttarkashi and spending some time there, I see there is a Shiva temple. I see there is all shenanigans happening. But most of the ashrams, most of the schools, most of the vidyalayas or gurukuls, they are all Vaishnavite in nature. And I was wondering why. Why isn't there any school which is preaching Shaivism or Shiva? And I used to wonder why. How is this Kashi and, we're basically revolving around Vaishnavism and not Shaivism? Because me coming from a Shaivite thing had this very narrow understanding or vision. I realize now how. It's because Shiva wants it to worship Rama.
Oh. This conversation is going to be incomplete without Abhinavagupta, someone I got to know after speaking with you. So we're talking about 9th or 10th century, around that time. He's supposed to be the master, right? The master of master when it comes to Kashmir Shaivism. Now, he's written this monumental text called the Tantra Loka in a gufa, in a cave, in an uninterrupted flow.
Yeah.
And these have been verses which have been, I think, 5,800 to 5,900 verses. After he finishes this mission, he takes his 12 disciples along, goes into a cave, only to have never returned. Is this true?
Yes, it is. And I will just expand on this story that you mentioned beautifully also. Abhinavagupta is like Adi Shankara to somebody who is following Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. So Adi Shankara is, how do you put it? Shankara's avatara. So Abhinavagupta, in his own time, when he is being raised by his father, his mother had unfortunately died when he was young. All people around used to call him Yogini's child, the child of the Yogini. So who is a child of a Yogini? A child of a Yogini is somebody who is born with the virya of Shiva and the yoni of Shakti. So the child of Shiva and Shakti is a child of a Yogini. So everybody, even when he is, a child, he's a brilliant child, right? And everybody used to call him as somebody who would probably uh, be our master when he grows up. So there are a lot of disciples when he is in his youth, in his 30s. There are disciples of him who are in their 60s, and they knew Abhinavagupta when he is himself a kid. So how is he being trained? Is he just being trained in Kashmiri Shaivism or Trika Tantra? No, he is not. So you beautifully said in the 9th, 10th century, when Kashmir is at the pinnacle of jnana, all kinds of parampara, all kinds of rituals, practices, dialogues, debates are happening in Kashmir Kshetra that time. There is Buddhism there, it's flourishing. There is Jainism there. There are Parsis. There is a bit of Sanatana. There are Vaishnavites. There are Shakta. There are Shaivites of different kinds. Tantra is doing their own. There are yoginis who have been worshipped. So you just can think of whatever is happening in Kashmir at that point of time. It's at the pinnacle of the spiritual or otherwise wealth. That is when, and in this neighborhood or in this society, Abhinavagupta is born. So when he is a kid, he comes from a lineage of some wonderful scholarly Brahmins. So Abhinavagupta in one of, I think in Tantra Loka or Tantra Sara, I guess, I think he defines his name as what my name really means and why am I named like this. So Abhi means is constant. Nava means new. And Gupta is hidden. Something which is constantly happening is Shiva, but it's hidden. That's not that knowledge which is constantly new, but yet hidden. So he beautifully describes his name also. But anyway, so now he has been raised, and in this time and neighborhood that he has been raised, he goes to different gurus. Not only studying Veda and other scriptures in his early childhood by his own parent, father, but then he also goes to different gurukula and different gurus to learn the Dvaita system, Dvaita, Advaita system. He also learns poetry. He also learns Natya Shastra. He learns everything.
Okay.
And he's written commentary on it. So he's not written just one Tantra Loka and then after that Tantra Sara and then he goes to the cave. No, it doesn't happen like that. He writes 50 plus odd books in his lifetime. His life is about 58 years. That's it.
Okay.
He writes 58 books or 59 books in that lifetime. He doesn't write, so he utters. His students are writing.
Acha, acha.
So even when he is under the fold of Shaivism, he does all three kinds of Shaivism. Now, even in Trika or the Kashmiri Shaivism, there are 3.5 different paramparas. One is Dvaita, Advaita, and then there's one which is coming out from a woman. So this is one tantric parampara which comes from a woman, which is the third 3.5 lineage, of which Trika is one part. He studies under that woman also. So he has gone to almost all the schools or lineages possible in his lifetime, in his geography, to study almost everything under the sun which is available. After studying all of them, being a master of it, having many, many books written, then he comes up with this, what I was telling you in the beginning, that in his own words, he says, Trika or Trika Shaivism is the rocket science of everything which you say is spirituality or Darshan Shastra. It is at the pinnacle of it. If you understand this, so the other, I wouldn't want to say inferior or something, but other laws of physics, you understand quantum, you know everything else is put into place. You know the Newtonian physics, you know the Einsteinian physics, you know everything else because you have studied the pinnacle of what the jnana is. So in his words, after studying everything and probably writing, I don't know how many commentaries on different parampara and jnana system, knowledge system, he says Kashmiri Shaivism is sitting at the top of it. Is Trika sits at the top, even superseding Kaula, even superseding Kula, even superseding normal Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Shaktism, everything else put together.
Oh.
He, in fact, keeps Veda at the lowest.
Aha.
Not because it's inferior, because he says Vedas are the most crucial scriptures to give you the foundational understanding from where you could develop other knowledge. This is the foundation. It's for everybody. Trika is not for everybody. Pashupatas are not everybody. Not everybody is an Aghora, right? It's only a certain number of people who would do a mastery in a certain lineage and become that. You would become Aghora. But then he says, even after Aghora, even after Kula, even after Kaula, then comes Trika Shaivism. And if you know this, you understand everything. It just falls into place so beautifully. So after writing all that, after writing commentary, a beautiful commentary on Bhagavad Gita, you must read. And through you, I'm going to also encourage other people to read about Abhinavagupta. At least Google Abhinavagupta. इतना तो करना चाहिए. बनता है. I think at the age of 58 or 59, then he, along with his, some say 12, some say 1200 disciples, he goes to one cave. That cave is in the sub-district called Birva, which is a distortion of the word Bhairava in district Badgam of Jammu and Kashmir. It's about 40 odd kilometers from the city center in Srinagar. And anybody who is visiting Srinagar and anybody who has even an interest and inkling of Shaivism or knows about Abhinavagupta or has ever Googled and found that interest must go and pay their visit, their salutations to that cave. That cave, currently called as Abhinavagupta Cave or Bhairava Cave or Birva Cave, it's a monument, it's a place in itself. One must, depending on their own interest, spend some time there, feel the energies of the Bhairava there. What a place. And remember, we were talking about how there could be many water channels which appear on top of the ground, but well, somewhere underneath they may have a similar source.
Yeah.
We have a concept of Ashta Bhairava, 8 Bhairavas, right? And they all are in a grid. Bhairavas are protectors, right? Kshetrapalas, they're protecting a particular kshetra. And if this is a kshetra, so imagine a district may have 8 different sub-districts. So who is protecting those sub-districts? Those 8 different Bhairavas in the same grid. Now the main grid is the main Bhairava. People must go to this Abhinavagupta cave or Bhairava cave, read about Abhinavagupta, read a little about, I say a little very carefully because he's done so much of work, there is no way possible in one lifetime you could even study him. So people must do all that. And through your channel, I would urge, in case if there are some other people who are watching, must preserve, conserve that kshetra also, because it's just going to
Okay. My last question, just parting, is going to be, what is that one thing that Trika has that no other system has?
Which tells you you are Shiva. You're not finding that Shiva somewhere outside. If there is one philosophy which tells you that either Aham Brahmasmi, but Aham Brahmasmi, you could say that you don't become Brahma. You were to be Brahma, you could create another universe. Kashmiri Shaivism gives you a path to become that Brahma Asmi.
Okay.
So you know you are Brahma or Shiva. And it starts with the get-go. It starts with the beginning by this Shivoham.
And if someone wants to learn Trika, how can they?
There are many scriptures, there are many books for Kashmiri Shaivism or Trika Tantra. I think, people could start with any one of the scriptures or books from either Swami Lakshmanju, because reading Abhinavagupta is the next stage and you got to have a good hold on the language, which is Sanskrit. So Abhinavagupta in his lifetime writes 2 books. One is Tantra Aloka, which is in Sanskrit, and you got to have a good understanding of the grammar as well as the language and everything else. But for non-Sanskrit ones, he writes Tantra Sara, which is the summary of Tantra Aloka. So you could start with Swami Lakshmanju, Swami Ramju, William Mark Duskovsky, Bettina Bommer. There's some contemporary scholars of Trika Shaivism as well.
Okay.
So we could read their books because they are good translations of the works of Abhinavagupta. And then if you find yourself ascending to that stage, maybe why don't you, people should connect with the primary source. And there are many, many. One book that I think I should be able to recommend for all the beginners at least would be a book by Swami Lakshmanju, and the name is Kashmiri Shaivism, the Ultimate Divine.
Okay. And what if I want to learn the tools, the technology that can give me that experiential reality and move me towards that?
I would say probably through scriptures you're going to get to a guru.
Okay.
Or through the guru you're going to get to the scripture.
Acha.
But for, just gathering the information, not the gyan, gathering the information, I think this is a great book to begin with.
Okay.
Yes.
Yuvrajji, thank you so much for the podcast.
Thank you, Shloka. Thank you for calling.
There are very few podcasts that I do for myself. Most podcasts I do for the viewers. This is one podcast I've done for myself.
It's a compliment. I think everything that came out of my mouth and everything that you were asking, it was because of her will. Even a small bite of it can change somebody's life irrevocably or adds value in their life
Absolutely.
for better. Yeah, with this, Adish.
Thank you.
In case you'd like to be a part of our online and in-person yoga, diet and spiritual programs, you can join our WhatsApp group below where we post all our upcoming programs and give free tips on health, diet and lifestyle.